Industrial Talk is brought to you by Palo Alto Networks. You've heard me talk about my friends at Palo Alto Networks, Zero Trust OT Security, delivering a comprehensive security solution for all OT assets, networks, and remote operations. But did you know that the Palo Alto Network solution provides over 1,100 app IDs for OT protocols, over 500 profiles for critical OT assets, and over 650 OT-specific threat signatures? Now that's best-in-class security delivered. Learn more about Palo Alto Networks' Zero Trust OT security solutions and how you can achieve 351% ROI over 5 years. Learn more about the Palo Alto Network solution by going out to paloaltonetworks.com. That's paloaltonetworks.com.
Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott MacKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
Hey there, and welcome to Industrial Talk. Thank you very much for joining a platform that is dedicated to industrial professionals all around the world, because you're bold, you're brave, you dare greatly, you innovate, you collaborate, you solve problems, and therefore you are changing the world as we speak. Thank you very much for what you do. We have a great conversation. It is digital twin in action. It is how the Netherlands is using digital twin and collecting that data in a way that they can make the experience as a whole much better for all of the wonderful riders of that service. So that's on. And I mean, we just barely scratched the surface. We're going to be doing a webcast on that so that you understand a little bit more, dive a little deeper. So let's get cracking. Yeah, I turned this one around quickly. It was such a great conversation. It was so interesting how they are using and collecting data, really doing it in such a way that it's real time, it's insightful, and they have some challenges, but they've overcome it. It's a wonderful story and exciting. So that's why we're going to be doing a webcast too, just because we need to dive deeper. Podcasts are fine, but you can't really dive deep into it. So, but anyway, this is meaty with a lot of great little tidbits. So make sure that you have paper and pencil and take some notes, because it's pretty cool. All right. Now, a business note. You need to amplify your voice. I'll just get it out there. You need to amplify your voice. And Industrial Talk is here for you. You just go out to industrialtalk.com. It's easy. And then you see the button. And then in that button, you click, yeah, let's collaborate, let's talk, let's do whatever, so that we can have, you and I, or your company and I, or whatever it might be, to have a conversation about how we can amplify your voice, expand your network, and create more opportunities for your organization. How about that? It's all there at Industrial Talk. It's easy navigable. Is navigable? Yeah, navigable. That's a word, right? I just didn't pull that one out. But anyway, it's there, and you do. We need to increase your reach, expand, get into new markets globally. Fortunately, Industrial Talk is in a position to do that. We've invested a lot of time, energy, and effort to be able to do that, to make sure that industry as a whole is well represented. And you need to be well represented. It's all out there. Go out to industrialtalk.com and let's just have a conversation. It's easy peasy. All right. On to the conversation that we have now. Again, this is a relationship between the rail system, the companies that is out there in Netherlands, and an organization that helps provide the ability, the platform, the insights into the data that is needed. And it's just great on how they decided that they wanted to go down this road and be able to do this for their assets and their business in general, and to be able to have that insight to truly improve the experience of the riders. It's a really great story. And again, be on the lookout for the webcast, just because it's got it. There's a lot more. I love the digital twin in action, and it's in action, and it is moving, and it's doing stuff in the Netherlands. So let's get on with the conversation. Enjoy it. All right, gents, welcome to Industrial Talk. Thank you very much for finding time in your schedule to be on Industrial Talk. How are you guys doing today?
I'm very well, thanks.
Very well, Remco? Okay. Robert, good, doing well?
Great, yes, thanks.
All right, very good, man. All right, for the listeners out there, let's get right into it. Give us a little background, Robert, on why you're such an incredible professional, and then we'll go to Remco.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, I'm Robbrecht van Amerogen. I work with AMIS and Remco Bunder. That's a Dutch IT company, and we specialized in real-time data processing, specifically for industrial solutions, and more specifically on the railway and rail solutions. I've been working here for 17 years, so that might be a very interesting job to be here for so long. And I'm constantly busy with, involved in innovative digital projects within our company.
When you say digital projects, give us an idea of what digital projects you're talking about.
Everything where decision making needs to be done almost real time, based on accurate real time data. That means in energy management, in management of large buildings like railway stations and airway terminals, and also based on feed industry. So everything where data is derived from a process, decisions are being made, and then the decisions are being fed back towards the operational systems.
Are you specifically saying that it's data around facilities, like rail facilities, airport terminals, or do you get into the actual assets themselves? In the case of rail, are you putting devices, reading the data, looking at it from a real time? Sort of slice that up.
Yeah, in most of the assets which we connect to are already digital or have some form of software in terms of PLC or SCADA systems on top of it. So we connect to those systems and make this data available in a centralized system, so you can run some logic on top of it and combine it. And perhaps we will get later on in some examples where you talk about the digital twin. You combine this data, make decisions, and then also operate via actuators, actually steer these devices again to run faster or slower or in a different mode.
So AMIS' conclusion is, I'm taking existing infrastructure, data collecting devices, like you said, SCADA, PLCs, and so on, and being able to pull that in, and then being able to put it into your platform to be able to draw conclusions and see, or derive insights into that.
Correct.
Right?
We actually bring the physical data, which is spread across our whole country, to a centralized place where the people who are the experts and who are working in offices can make analytics on top of it, make decisions, and then actually program these decisions and these logic in the system, and then drive the conclusions back to the actual systems again, the actual assets again.
Okay, I got the picture. All right. Remco, bring it. Give us a background.
Well,
that's a hard act to follow, by the way, just FYI. Thanks to be
live
you.
In Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, where you told us you already lived for some while. Well, I work for the Dutch Railways, but I work the specific area. I work for the real estate department, and we have like 440 stations. I have several roles, but one of them is product owner for a team that's concerned with Internet of Things solutions, and the other. And there's a part where I'm involved in the drone organization of the Dutch Railways, because we also use a lot of drones to harvest information, which we can make 3D models, such as we did for Utrecht Centraal, as you know. What else can I say? I'm 54 years old, and
with a flowing head of hair, that's what I see. Of course, I don't, so that's is what it is. Let me ask you this real quick, from the Dutch railway perspective. This whole digital transformation of your assets, your facilities, whatever it might be. Take us through sort of that thought process of where you were prior to all of this and why this is such an important component to your strategic, business.
Well, it started off like a simple idea, like we bought this thing once, and this was the first drone we got.
That's a drone?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
It's a very small one, but
it's cool.
I pitched the idea of, why are we still using ladders, and why don't we buy drones? And then, I showed them this, and I said, and they said, give it a go. And we bought drones. And when we bought drone, we also saw the possibility to create 3D models from our assets with the software that was involved in these drones. And pretty soon, we came up with the idea, like, if we have a 3D model of our assets, and we could also connect it to real-time data, this could be very useful, because we have like people who have to manage more than 10 stations, but they cannot be at the same place in one time. And that's where I thought, let's start very easy and small with a very tiny station somewhere and with one elevator. And where my partner and colleague Jean Keultjes said, no, we take the biggest station we have, and we're going to make that 3D, and we're going to put sensors in it, and we're going to fix the real first 3D digital twin of a train station. And that's what happened. And so we didn't have a business case in the beginning. We just wanted to prove we could do it, and because we had no idea of the value yet.
Yeah, talk about taking a big bite. Which one is your largest train station?
Utrecht Centraal. We have like 2 million passengers, and that's big for Holland. Every day going there. So
2 million every day?
Yeah, passengers. Yeah. So really a big hub for the Netherlands.
Okay, so I have to pull on that because we're going to be talking about digital twin. I got it. And what did it surpass? I mean, you just started using drones. You started pulling information off of a 3D type of environment, digital twin it, right? Take us through the process of just saying, we did it. How long did it take? I'm just swirling with questions. How long did it take? Because that doesn't happen overnight.
No. Well, first we started like, you need to harvest the data from the inside and the outside. So you have several techniques to create the 3D model. So let me first take you to the 3D model, if it's okay with you.
Yes, please. Roll with it, baby.
Okay. We hired a drone that was equipped with a camera, and we had it flew over Utrecht and made pictures which could later be used to use the technology called photogrammetry, and which you can make a 3D outside of a building. Then for the inside, you cannot fly with a drone. We used LiDAR, which is a technology like sonar. You send a pulse, it gets back, you have a XYZ, and then that connected to a geometry, georeference. You can make, from a point cloud, you can make a 3D model. And then we had the challenge to put these outside and the inside on each other. Yeah? So because we have the outside, of course, where what the passengers see, but on the inside we had the elevators, the escalators, the stairs, the shops. And I think we in total we spent, and it's not like non-stop, but took about 3 months from head to tail without any how you call it, delays. The processing of the model took a lot of times because it was like 20 billion dots which had to come together as a point cloud, and then you have to decimate it because it's so big. You have to scale it down till it's visible enough but small in size, and then we have the 3D model. Then was the next step was we have the escalators and the elevators, because that was for us a very well, they were already there and they were already equipped with sensors. How can we get the data from these devices towards our 3D model? And then with the help of the team of AMIS, we created a IoT environment with a event hub, etc., where we had these. Well, maybe Robbrecht can explain a bit more about it. But okay, the data comes in with the status of the elevator or escalator, combined with a status, combined with a location. And because we had the location, we could point it on the 3D map, and that's where our in our opinion, digital twin was accomplished.
Okay, so with that said, Robert, I want to sort of, for the listeners out there, let's sort of level set around a 3D model versus a digital twin. Give us sort of a we talked about 3D going into digital twin.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about that.
There's a lot of different definitions of digital twin, and that's sometimes infused from marketing perspective or commercial perspective or very technical perspective. In this case, there is a physical model of a building or a machine, in this case a building, where you actually plot the actual location of assets who are creating data, because that's still immutable or at least fixed for a couple of months until you replace a wall or put an escalator somewhere else or put your lights somewhere else. And then the trick for a digital twin is that it's being fed by real-time data or near real-time data. In this case, it was sufficient to send data every 15 minutes. That was sufficient to assess the status of the station. We also have digital twins where the data is being sent into the model every second. But that's more in energy management and energy systems. So the combination of the location, the structure of the building, the physical attributes of the building that's being simulated in the model, and the actual data, you can see what is happening in this building in real time in your office. So in this case, the station manager, who is actually the concierge of the station, who's responsible for everything within the station, and it's such a big building, he can be everywhere at the same time. So we put some alerts in this model to show, well, are there specific locations where the surface of electrical equipment or other assets are below normal, so that they don't reach their service level. And sometimes it's acceptable. So when you have two escalators and one is not working, you also always have the other one. And but when there's two escalators broken, then that's a high priority incident. So you have to act on that one immediately. That's being shown in the model itself. And having this data, you can also combine it with other data like energy usage, with the passenger flow, and then create models to optimize for example, sustainability or passenger quality, so experience in the station, a high valued experience, or optimize for retail revenue. So when you have a very busy platform, it might be very interesting to open another place where you can buy extra coffee.
And especially this elevator escalator problematic. If you have a disability and you arrive at a platform where both escalator and the elevator is broken, well,
that's not good.
It's something you don't want.
You don't want that. It's not good. Yeah, sadly. But let me ask you this, Remco. When we've got this vision, this vision of your assets, pulling data on a real-time basis, did it help you to perform the maintenance that is necessary, the degradation of those assets, in a way that you can proactively minimize the outage of maybe that escalator or that elevator, compress that time? There's going to be events throughout, the year or whatever, but did it help give that clarity into those assets to do that?
Well, it did, but the power of it more lies in the visibility of, like, if you have a platform where both, like platform 12, where both the escalator and the elevator are broken, this does something to the urgency of fixing that problem. Because that means there is no other way for passengers who have a disability to get where they want to go. That gave the station manager the opportunity to proactively chase that case. Like, okay, listen, I know the priority normally for escalator is priority 2, whatever. But now I see that I have the escalator and the elevator on the same platform being broken.
Yeah.
That it makes it a higher level. And that visibility, so that you see it in the context of that environment, made it very valuable. So the only thing it did was it raised the priority, more or less.
Go ahead, Robert.
And there's also an added complexity in, especially in the kind of organizations like Dutch Railway. The ownership and the responsibility of assets is kind of complicated depending on what location you are. Sometimes there are two major companies, one which runs the trains, that's where Remco is working, is also responsible for the real estate, the rails of the train station. There's another company called ProRail who's responsible for the actual tracks. And sometimes assets are owned by the track company, sometimes assets are owned by the rail company, and sometimes assets are owned by the local municipality, so the local city. So when you have spread this ownership, you also have probably a different kind of system. So you have to connect to all kinds of different OEMs, and it's kind of difficult. It's quite difficult to get a clear insight in the total status of a complicated station like Utrecht Centraal, when you have to combine all this data in one platform. So before we made this digital 3D digital twin model, people had to view 4 or 5 different systems, perhaps even more, just to check what the status of the station is. And then you still have to consider that the data you're looking at has a different time frequency. Sometimes data is being refreshed every month, sometimes every day, sometimes every hour. And now it's all being harmonized and centralized, so you can see, well, this is broken now. It's on the same platform, the 2 different OEMs, and now I have to talk to these 2 OEMs to make sure that they are fixed.
Yeah.
See, how do you, with all the responsibility and ownership challenges, how do you train? How do you educate on? Let's say I own this section of track, whatever it might be, and you come in and you say, hey, we're going to give you greater visibility into the health of that asset because we're going to be pulling data, and it's going to be real time or every 10 minutes or whatever the parameters are in. And I have to learn how to Remco, how did you deal with the education component and saying, this is important for you and it has value for you, therefore you need to take this serious or whatever it might be. But take us through that.
Well, it's not a nice story. Because when we first started with the idea of the digital twin, our business said, well, there you have the IT guys and they're always playing, and yeah, what value does it have, etc. And I always make the joke to my colleagues who are with the maintenance department. Yeah, well, you still like to work with a pencil, but we have to move on. And so in the beginning, without people knowing what a digital twin could mean for them, there was always already some resistance. Especially when we got the award in Barcelona, it got worse.
That's so funny. It's, every time, and this is just from my experience, and all the conversations I have with innovative organizations and companies like yours and others, it always gets down to the human equation. I don't care, and it's global, right? It doesn't, one segment of the country and the world. It's global, and it's always people, and it's always that ability to succeed or fail or challenge. It's always gets down to the people. But where are we at today? I mean, from bringing it in and using it, give us that maturity component.
I can shed a little bit light on that. It actually depends, as you said, on the type of people you have in your organization. And I think every person in every organization is adding value to this organization, and they need to work together to make it happen. So probably in every organization you have several people like me and Remco who are running a little bit ahead of the troops, creating new ideas and doing stuff which isn't really existing already, showing that it can be done. And in this case, we just made the digital twin model of the station, just show them, well, this is what you can do, and this is what is additional value. And now the next step is make it so that it's being reliable, trustworthy, and that you can rely on this model every day and every second that you need to make decisions, and not that it's a proof of concept. And that's actually where our specialization is, to accelerate and execute on innovative ideas, and to expand them to real productive systems with a large scale and large number of assets. So it's not a proof of concept or a pilot, it's a really productive system which is able to be the basis and the reliability foundation for every person in this organization to make decisions upon. Okay, and that step is probably that's the gap between innovation and actual large-scale production. That's quite difficult and complicated to make, because then all the complicated stuff which you ignore when you do innovation comes on the table, like security, privacy, scalability, reliability, and so on. And that's just as important as being innovative and creating cool new ideas. This is the cherry which makes this really valuable for
see, here's the funny thing about your rail approach and the assets, and it's not a clear, it's the asset base extends out and it goes everywhere, and it involves so many different people. I'll just have to say, what is the real value of going or entering into this digital twin world with your rail assets? What's the real value? What am I seeing the bottom line? Better maintenance, better this, better that, financially this? Can you explain to us on that one?
I think better maintenance is surely one of the things in response, that we can quicker respond to the disturbance we have in the country. And this doesn't have to be in 3D. This might as well be in 2D. Plus, you can also make a better assumption on the impact. And I think that's also of great value. Because like for a train company, our main goal is to make sure our passengers get from A to B safe. And therefore, these escalators and the elevators are, it's not our core business, but they are part of our business. And therefore, I think they are, how much euros can you attach to having a passenger getting on the right place? I don't know. But in the end, if people feel they're comfortable by traveling by train, and because all the escalators and elevators are working, I think that's beneficial.
And those are high use assets. I mean, they just are high use. They're running all the time. High use assets require constant monitoring.
But the business cases in this area that's also a complicated part, because the business cases are derived from different departments and different strategic goals of the organization. So the rail company is a publicly owned company, so they have a public service to the Netherlands to make sure that the trains are operational, and also that the service is high quality. But they also have committed to the Paris goals of carbon reduction, and they need to make their operations efficient enough so they have enough money to invest in new projects and business continuity. So whenever you have a platform where you can combine data from all kinds of assets, you can optimize in all these three areas with probably the same data or a little bit more data, adding different kinds of logic. So this model, we are now building models where we can add energy usage data on top of this model, and escalators and elevators are assets with a high energy footprint.
Yeah.
Then you can combine it, for example, with the passenger flow and say, well, is it really necessary to have these assets running when the amounts of passengers is very low? That could be a saving in energy. But you can see every escalator is the same, but number 3 is using 2 times as much electricity as the rest. They are functional, the same operations, but probably something is wrong. And at the moment, the data is actually monitored, but it's monitored by the OEM. And they act when there is a degradation of service in their service level agreement. But they probably don't act on excess energy usage because they're not responsible for that part.
Yeah.
Well, that still could be an interesting case, because if the power consumption is higher, this could mean that the doors are having to push more before they open and close. So it could be a predictive indicator, whether or not broken or not, but you have an early warning system with that.
Yeah, no, that's a clear indication that there's stress going on in that asset that needs attention, and maybe you can proactively take the asset out, do the maintenance as necessary, and not run into the situation where you got an elevator out and an escalator out, and then the quality of the rider's experience is shot because it only takes one time. That person comes out and it's like, oh, what am I going to have to do? It's
no.
No, I can tell you, we had unfortunately a few cases this year where passengers are being stranded at the platform and not getting down, and we make headlines, and that are not the kind of headlines we want to make. So
yeah, I agree. That's something. So Remco, where are you at? Where do you see the next step? What are you looking forward to as from a strategic perspective with the rail?
Well, I want to add more sensors in the area of safety, like with AI combined with audio maybe, because we also had a proof of concept earlier on the gravity problem we have in the Netherlands. For some reason, people find it very funny to put gravity on trains and train stations, and it costs us a lot of money to clean this every time.
No way.
So we made a sensor which was able to detect this kind of actions. And if I can put that kind of sensors also in my digital model, or like you could say, Utrecht is a big station. if it would respond to a crowd cheering or a gunshot, it would make the first responders. It could be helpful for the first responders to indicate where they have to go to without them having to run through the entire station. So I think that's the area. In the area of safety, I think the biggest new ideas would come.
Very good. Can you add to that, Robert?
Yeah, and also some undetected slow degradation can be added to this model. So the other thing is, that's for the smaller stations. Most of them also have a kind of basement or the foundation. When there's water leakage or when there's high water in the Netherlands, it sometimes happen that the basements are filling with water, and when you place a sensor in that area, you don't have to go there every week or every month to check if the basement is filled with water. So you can detect it prematurely and see if you can stop it before electrical wire is being damaged, which is placed in these basements, and the other stuff. And you can see what happens also in the simulation, what happens when you change something in the passenger flow or in the design of the building. You can see, well, if you move a couple of benches a little bit more to the left, what will happen to the passenger flow? Can we still process this amount of people? And will there be a difference in the stress which is being put on the escalators and so on? And is there sufficient lighting to support these people? And all this is sounds quite simple, but is derived from 4 or 5 or 10 different systems, and now you can combine it for simulation in one big centralized system, which helps to answer questions in terms of sustainability, but also investment in answers with regards to revenue or passenger quality.
There you go. Hey, we're going to have to wrap this up. Remco, if somebody wants to find out more about what's happening, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, they could drop me an email, of course.
Yeah.
So, I will set my email. You could put it in the underbar. remco.bunder@ns.nl.
Okay. Are you out there on LinkedIn?
Of course, yes.
Yeah, there you go, man. Yeah. I'll have the LinkedIn contact. Robert, what about you? How do they get a hold of you?
You can also check out conclusion.nl and see our other services and search for the site on IoT and digital twin solutions. You can, of course, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a message whenever you have any questions about this or other IoT solutions you want to investigate with me.
I love it, man. I'm telling you, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface with this conversation. I want more, but we're limited by time. You both were just absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much for being on Industrial Talk.
Well, Scott, thanks a lot. And, nice to meet you again after Barcelona, and hope to meet you again.
All right, listeners, we're going to wrap it up on the other side. We're going to have all the contact information for these two gents out on Industrial Talk. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
Yeah, meaty conversation. A lot of bits and tidbits and all that good stuff in the digital twin in action. By the way, in action. I highly recommend that you reach out to them. We're gonna again, all out on Industrial Talk. Just find them out on LinkedIn and begin a conversation of how they can definitely help you in your digital transformation journey, your digital twin journey. They're doing it. They've been in the trenches, so it's a good thing. All right. Again, follow up right now. Your voice needs to be amplified. Your opportunities need to be expanded. You need to increase that network. That's what Industrial Talk is all about. For you, it is a platform, an ecosystem dedicated to you, celebrating industrial professionals. You. Again, you. Be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Hang out with these two gents. Change the world. We're going to have another great conversation shortly on Industrial Talk, so stay tuned.